Dude, we got ourselves the new Kawasaki Ridge Crew.
This is one of the most high-end side-by-sides you can get anywhere on the market, and today we're taking it through Cliffhanger 1.0.
Exactly, this is our first proper trail run in this new Ridge, and we want to see how it works. Oh, dude, it's struggling a little bit already.
But so far doing okay because we don't even have the diffs locked up. Now, just recently, you guys had the Polaris Expedition, a direct competitor to this,
yes,
on a rock crawling trail, and it struggled a little bit.
So we do have 14 inches of ground clearance. We have a kind of clearanced control arms. Whoa! You okay? Yeah. I don't like this. No, Andre, don't. We're going the wrong way, man. Go back, please. Okay. This is not good. Go back. Yeah, I feel like we're about to tip over. I'm very close. Well, I thought we're done tipping. No, we're about to tip. Let's not do that, please. That was pretty scary.
So today's trail is going to be more scenic, plus more high speed in addition to some rock crawling features.
I cannot wait. Let's do this. This machine has a very long name, and that's on purpose, right?
Yeah, it's a Kawasaki Ridge
XR.
Oh, XR.
Crew. Yes. It has an inline 4, so that's a part of its name.
And it's the HVAC model, so we've got heat, we've got AC. Right now the AC is going, and this is super well equipped. We've got these nice screens with some off-road gauges that we can look at as we start to approach our next feature.
Yes. Whoa!
And it might be time to lock them up, Andre.
Dude, I need to close my windows. I have power windows. Look at this.
Also pretty nice. So here you can see our four-wheel drive selector. We are in four-wheel drive now, but what we can do is we can switch it over to being locked up.
And we do have a CVT, continuously variable transmission. This is nothing new, right? Most side-by-sides have that type of transmission.
Should we shift into low?
We also have a temperature on our CVT so we can monitor what's happening with it always.
Yeah, so a pretty sweet set of gauges that we can monitor and check out angles, compass, temperatures, voltage, and you can see at the bottom of the screen what settings that you have, but with everything locked up,
dude, that made a big difference.
It's like a cakewalk.
Yeah, and you know what I'm noticing is I was actually applying quite a lot of throttle pedal, but it was very smooth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just kind of did its thing and helped me get up.
And I also like the four-wheel drive engagement and the locker engagement on this Ridge. Super fast, super easy. It's really nice.
And you can hear it, right? You can hear the actuator goes click through.
And you see it on the screen as well.
Also, we have a power mode selector. This is also a pretty useful machine. We'll show that in a second. It's got a bed. So there's work mode, there is normal mode, and there is sport mode. But dude, today it's all about fun, having fun, so I think sport mode it is.
I really like the digital gauge cluster that this has because that, to me, looks better than the analog instruments that are in the Polaris Expedition that we tested about a week ago.
But the whole thing about these machines, right? They're narrow on purpose. They're 64 inches wide, which makes them nice for off-roading because you can pick your line. And look at this. There are very few regular trucks or SUVs where you can go with like 15 miles an hour, you know, on a trail like this, and just no big deal, right?
It's true, you can cover ground really quickly.
This is not my favorite feature. Watch this. I let go of the brake and the vehicle starts rolling backwards. So I kind of have to two-foot it sometimes when on a slope.
Yeah, which is not unusual, but I agree with you, especially coming out of the automotive world, which I think a lot of buyers for this vehicle will be.
Right.
And it's worth mentioning the use case of this type of side-by-side. This is the kind of machine that you would buy if you have maybe a big ranch in Montana, a beautiful place that you want to go do some hunting, any kind of outdoor sporting.
Maintenance work too, right?
Absolutely. This being enclosed, you could use it all seasons, and you can cover a lot of ground in some pretty inhospitable places using a vehicle like this. That being said, because this is so heavily equipped with features, screens, HVAC, fully enclosed, power features, windows, you know, a fabric headliner, we've got all these speakers.
Yeah.
This is not an inexpensive machine.
And we'll talk about price in just a little bit. Also, I was mentioning the width of this machine, which is really great, but the height of this machine is not so great because it can get a little tippy at times, right?
For sure, it's a little bit on the tall side, which is nice for our headroom, but if you're trying to off-road this really hard, that could get in the way a little bit like it did for you guys with the Polaris Expedition.
Yeah.
That being said, this is not a sport side-by-side, so that's not the goal.
Case, we don't go on this part of Cliffhanger 1.0 trail very often, and that's why we bring Onyx Off-Road maps with us, right?
Absolutely. Onyx Off-Road allows us to download offline maps, so even when we're out of cell reception, we know where we are, and it's our favorite tool to use every time we go off-road so that we know exactly what we're doing and why.
And also, you can get current conditions, you can see other people's notes, you could find dispersed camping, which we already saw somebody camping over here, right? So it's a really great tool. Now let me climb. This is like the final climb to the very highest point, right?
Now, Andre, I got a question for you.
Yes.
I brought my dirt helmet.
Yes.
How come you're wearing what looks like a racing helmet? Did you just get out of your Lamborghini and now you're in the side-by-side?
Yes. I own many Lamborghinis. No, well, we've been experimenting with something because I wanted to be speaking a little bit more clearly.
Right.
Roman and I decided maybe I would wear this helmet, but you're dressed proper.
I have the dirt helmet. I figured I might as well wear it, but let us know in the comments if you have a preference between the two.
But here's my other take, my hot take. This is a fully enclosed machine with windows, glass, HVAC, seat belts. Like, I feel okay wearing that.
Sure,
you know what I'm
and
saying?
yeah, potentially. And keeping in mind the kind of off-roading that we're doing with this machine, because this isn't a sport side-by-side. This is more of a high-end, comfortable, luxury side-by-side. We've got 116 horsepower, which isn't nothing, but for a machine of this size, it's obviously not competing with Can-Am turbos and any side-by-side like that.
We're also not jumping 50-foot jumps, too.
Yeah, it's a very different use case.
Yeah.
But look at where this side-by-side has delivered us, because we're now at the top of Cliffhanger 1.0 and the trail that accompanies it. And this is just a spectacular view.
Oh my, I haven't been here like 2 years, dude. This is amazing.
Yeah,
wow.
super cool vista, really great view. And while we're up here, I say we walk around the side-by-side and look at it in a bit more detail.
Let's do it. Dude, let's rewind the winch because it's a little messy right now.
Yeah, I think the last person that unwound it and rewound it might have been in a hurry.
Yeah, maybe they were stuck somewhere.
Could be. But it's definitely a nice feature to have. The Polaris that we were just testing, that also had a winch up front and a similar rating, but I like that this one is Warn, it's a name brand.
Yeah, and it's included with the XR and this limited edition too, which is really nice. So the Kawasaki Ridge lineup came out a little while ago, and they had the two-door models, basically a little bit more sporty, a little bit more nimble. But what if you want to bring a lot more friends with you?
Especially because this is a very comfortable side-by-side, so it's a good one to bring the family with since it's fully enclosed and you've got HVAC.
Yeah.
If you want to go explore in the mountains like what we're doing today, then it's perfect. And I do like that this one in particular comes with a bit of a brush guard in the front. I wouldn't call it much more than that, because by hand I can push it into the painted bodywork.
Yeah, it's not super strong.
No, it's not the most durable looking piece. And as far as looks goes, I do want to mention that the Polaris, and this is subjective, but the Polaris that we had previously, I would say is maybe a little bit more handsome than the Kawasaki.
Well, you know, with the Polaris Expedition, the glass portion is a little bit shorter and it looks a little bit more proportional. Yeah. But I like how Kawasaki's are like functional, right? There's a lot of glass. there's a lot of, just space inside, right?
Good visibility. And the other thing that I like about this Kawasaki a lot is the inline 4 that powers it. It's a 999cc engine, 116 horsepower, about 74 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
But what's great about it is that it's very quiet and it's very smooth. And when you're in a side-by-side like this, it's not a sport side-by-side. It's not meant to be brash and loud. It's meant to be comfortable. That powertrain being so smooth, it's great.
It's pretty clever. And I mean, Kawasaki has a long history with 4-cylinder engines, right? They have different lineups, either motorcycle lineups and side-by-side in sport in both utility versions. And look at this engine. So it's got the air intake by the cab. The exhaust is basically exhausting toward the back. So you're not getting a lot of heat from the exhaust system inside. Also, here's where your transmission is, kind of the belt-driven one.
Yeah.
And the suspension, if we look at the suspension down here, it's not like a name brand, like a Fox or some other system, but actually we're finding out it's pretty comfortable still.
Definitely comfortable, and a side-by-side that's also set up to do some amount of work, because of course we've got a bed here on the back. It's decent size, I'd say pretty average for a utility side-by-side. And we can tow as much as 2,500 pounds. And the capacity on the bed here is 600 pounds.
Yeah, but I was looking through the spec sheet, and the bed capacity kind of varies depending if you have a 2-door or crew. I mean, that's very natural. And the overall payload of this machine is close to like 1,250. So you have to choose, do you load it, 5 big people, or maybe some combination of both?
Yeah.
So looking at the suspension system, you have to look at the A-arms as well. And according to Kawasaki, it's around 12.5 inches of ground clearance, and about the same for wheel travel. But these independent systems case, we found they don't articulate actually that great, right? You lift tires once in a while you're moving about.
There's definitely other side-by-sides that would be better for rock crawling, better for any kind of off-roading. If your main goal is to do more serious obstacles, this wouldn't be my first pick.
And also, this is a straight piece of metal here on this A-arm. In Polaris, it's a little bit curved, so they kind of carve out a little bit more clearance.
Yeah.
But we never touched anything so far on this trail, so I think it's okay.
The back seat of the Ridge has one major complaint from a lot of reviewers and a lot of users, and it's the opening with this reverse opening door. It's not very big. If I was much wider, I would be rubbing the door on my way in unless I turn to the side a little. And apparently, the reason that this door only opens so far is that the bar that limits its movement is the same part that's on the front. So it saves a bit of cost, but it does restrict your ingress and egress. It's not the end of the world, so I don't want to harp on that any longer than I have to. As far as actually sitting back here, your visibility is good. You've got a bar that you can grab onto, and it's configured for 5 passengers. These seats are pretty plush, they're comfortable, so this would not be a bad place to sit for an extended drive through the mountains.
Dude, I agree with you on the spaciousness of this cabin. Look, I'm just almost 6'3", and I'm standing, and I'm still can lean in here and get to the interior very easily. They have actually several different configurations on seating. Like you said, this is a 5-person. They also have a 4-person if you wanted to. Also, they have a 6-person. Basically, the center console goes away, and you can have more of a bench seat here in the front. I think this 5-person is just fine. And also, I'm still learning about all of its features. It has a lot of stuff going on. Let me show you. So dude, there's a lot going on here in the central screen. So of course you can have your gauges, which is normal, right?
Yeah.
But now, if I use these toggle switches, and it's not really intuitive for me, but you could select a camera mode. For example, this is the front, I could see the winch, and I could zoom in, but the resolution is very poor.
Yeah, it's not the sharpest looking camera view.
And
that's
then
the front camera. We've got a rear view
we have a
camera as
rear
well.
view, which is actually quite important for backing up, especially if you're pulling a little trailer or something.
Yeah, if you're hooking up a trailer
Yeah.
too. Yeah, it's definitely a nice thing to have. I wish it was a little higher resolution.
And also larger, because the whole screen, is not very big. And then there's a couple of other things going on here. Vehicle information, There's a data table here, and then settings. Dude, I don't like these switches.
Yeah.
It's not intuitive.
I appreciate all the information, but it is a bit of a clunky process, especially since the reverse camera doesn't come on when you throw it into reverse, at least as it's configured now.
Yeah. So now we're descending, right? And I wanted to mention a couple things. First of all, I put it in low transmission selector,
Yeah.
which is helping me a little bit with my kind of engine braking. And also brakes.
Yeah, so you said they made some changes to the brakes.
Yeah, so for these bigger models, these crew models, according to Kawasaki, they made the brakes a little bit more capable. They talked about like 12% more capability, which makes sense because this machine at the curb weighs what, about 2,600 pounds,
Yeah, so it's not light.
which is a sizable amount, right?
Yeah, and especially if you load it up with as many as 5 people and a little bit of gear,
Yeah.
you're gonna want some decent braking.
Okay, so it just rained here.
It did, there's a lot of water.
I see some water. I think we need to exercise a little bit of speed, but safely, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's a two-directional traffic here, but also have some fun. Yeah. So dude, I'm in high right now with four-wheel drive unlocked, right?
Yep.
And it's pretty easy to go, 25 miles an hour or so with no trouble at all.
It is, and it's a reasonably comfortable side-by-side, even at higher speeds, and even though it's not, again, a side-by-side that's really designed to do super high speeds, but because this is still a purpose-built off-road machine, you can do this a lot more comfortably at higher speeds than you would be doing in any pickup truck for the most part.
Yeah, because we bring like some of our older vehicles when we do special series, like cheap Jeep challenges. We've done many new vehicles on this trail, and when you're in the full-size vehicle, you have to go much slower.
Yeah, short of some really impressive trucks like the Ranger Raptor, any Raptor, TRX and RHO, you're not really going to go this quickly through this kind of terrain comfortably. And the other thing with some of those other trucks is they're so wide that parts of this trail wouldn't allow you to go through it that quickly if you want to keep your paint intact. So covering ground in a side-by-side like this is pretty unbeatable.
Yeah, I remember having a Silverado 1500 Trail Boss here, and I kind of pinstriped it. That was horrible.
Yeah,
I hated that.
It's easy to do.
Now the final piece of the puzzle is price, right?
Yep, and it's not a small figure. So including destination and everything, this side-by-side is just under $40,000.
Yeah.
So it's not the priciest side-by-side on the market, but it is towards the top end of the spectrum because of the way that this is equipped with all the luxury features that we've been talking about.
Exactly, and the Kawasaki Ridge pricing for a two-door starts at around 31 or so. Of course, you could add up to it, the XR models, the limited models like this is, the crew models. They all have inline fours, so the engine remains the same in the lineup. But like you said, this is one of the more pricier models, which is at 40, but it's still about $5,000 less than that Polaris Expedition we tested.
That's true, and I like the way that the Polaris looks, and I like a few particular features like the windshield that you could push open, but for the most part, I actually like this Kawasaki better. I think it's a better deal.
I agree with you. This engine, I think, is smoother, quieter. I'm loving this right now.